So let's talk about these balance tubes that some people are misnomenclaturing about the EGR tubes. Those things. Here's where they connect to the intake manifold. I assure you, from myself looking at these, because I tried looking at this on camera, it doesn't really show up all the greatest. But I can assure you that if you look down in there, all you will see is a little bit of dirt and cast iron. Matter of fact, see if we can do this even better. Turn the torch on. There you go. You can see it. It's just a little grime, cast aluminum. Do you see any carbon in there? I don't see any carbon in there. Because, the reason I say that is because right here is where your EGR inlet is. If this was a way to get EGR gases over to here, which, mind you, would completely bypass the EGR valve, then, why wouldn't there be any carbon in there? Why wouldn't these ports here all be carboned up? Why wouldn't these tubes here have a ton of carbon versus a bunch of aluminum shavings from me doing, porting work on these sides? Now, if you're going to port your head, you want to remove these. This is a junk head, and this is one that I'm experimenting with. This is one that I'm experimenting trying to get all of these casting flaws and everything out of here while still retaining that tube. And trust me when I say it ain't happening. However, if this was part of the EGR system, these tubes would not be here and just be firing at an angle. Like everybody else says that it causes a swirling effect, which, to be honest, is my best theory on it. Why wouldn't it just be back there at the back, straight out of the casting? Because last time I checked, exhaust has pressure and does not need help of any kind to scavenge into an engine. Next question is, if those are balance tubes, then why is it in the virgin areas do we not see a bunch of carbon buildup and junk right here at this portion of the seat? You don't. You never do. It's aimed right at the back of the valve. To be honest, I would think that whatever it was that was going through there would probably superheat the seat during cruise. I'm just throwing out guesses here. All in all, it is not part of the EGR system. The EGR system goes through has a passageway through the cylinder head to your exhaust manifold. Matter of fact, here's the passageway. This one's closed. This one's open-ish to the exhaust manifold. Exhaust manifold has a little bump on it, which I don't have an exhaust manifold here. I'd show you. Actually, no. Here's one off the GT. It's got a little bump. There's the hole. There's the bump. Because, the GTs are exactly the same. Anyways, it comes through here and gets to the valve, the EGR valve. Inlet is here, outlet is there. Outlet comes down around into the back of the intake manifold where it can mix with oncoming air and fuel. That's my logic of the day. That's what we're talking about with Geo Metros. And yes, I know these are here, whether it's an EGR car or a non-EGR car. Matter of fact, non-EGR manifold, which I have one of those non-EGR motors right over there. Barely see it behind that convertible, because this is a 1991 convertible that does not have it, but does have vacuum advanced distributor. It has this swirl port balance area. Why does it have it? Because it's a 3-cylinder. They're trying to make it as efficient as possible, guys. This isn't rocket science here. This is automotive engineering. Now, you want to come down here and look even further. Here's a turbo car. See how much it hangs down there? See that little plug right there? This one has it too. Ain't nothing there. This intake looks a little bit different because we have a coolant passage here. But this one, an MPFI turbo car. Where's the EGR on it? Oh, there it is. It's blocked off. Turbo cars don't have EGRs. And against popular opinion, these cars were cast with provisions to be turbo cars. Because I guarantee you, and most of them were machined to be kind of sort of turbo cars. But if you look on the back of your block, you will find an undrilled boss right here that sticks out like a sore thumb because it's angled versus, perpendicular. That's for your knock sensor that, your naturally aspirated car doesn't have because it's not a turbo car. What else is there? See these spots right here? These are the bosses your injectors go in. Matter of fact, the castings for them still there. So you just need to drill them out and turn your car into an MPFI car. But you got to figure out a way to mount the fuel rail. So it's there. See where the intake manifold brace bolts? Ta-da! We have it right there and right there. So yeah, these cars were designed to be turbo cars. These were designed to have turbo engines. It wasn't until they said, look, we're not going to build a bunch of turbo engines. We're going to have some naturally aspirated. That's when other engineers came out and decided the different pistons. Which, to be honest, here's the GT rod. Thick, got a thick parting line here. It's forged. So are these pistons. Just as a side note. Here's a G10. Forged, but thinner. Way thinner. You can visually see that. These things are like freaking pencils. Look at the wrist pin. Much smaller. I can guarantee you that a turbo car, while still having this style valve relief, and this style of and probably this style of compression relief, versus, your GT, which is kind of just a flat top. This all came about with the cast pistons because they wanted to start building these naturally aspirated. There was a whole nother division. That's why they just went with this junky ass throttle body injection and a basic ass simple fucking intake manifold, because somebody there at the company was pissed that there weren't going to be a bunch of turbo cars. It's just my theory on it. But the facts still stand. Those right there are not a part of the EGR system. How do I know that? Because every manual that I have factory service manuals for GTI, for Turbo Sprint, Turbo Firefly, Geo Metro 1994, actually, to be quite honest. Even have a factory service manual for a convertible for a 1991, because there it is. In the section for cylinder heads, there is nothing that says that that is part of the EGR system. In the EGR section, there is nothing, no hints, no trace, no nothing, that is a part of the EGR system. So here's my thing. They are there for a reason. The biggest theory, and actually somebody I think came out once upon a time, said that it was for the swirl effect and the balancing of each port. That's just what I was told. So, I mean, they're there. Those of us that have ported cylinder heads on our vehicles currently running, you know, I have one on my 94 Metro, that do not have those right there installed anymore because they got in the way of porting. And so we cut them out. Nothing really has changed. I still get high 40s on the in mileage. And I don't know. I get a little bit more power from porting and cam and compression, the whole 9 yards. So what I'm really trying to say here is it really doesn't fucking matter. And that this is going on 12 minutes of rambling and ranting and bullshit because someone out there is putting out false information saying that these tubes are for the EGR system. If you're looking for performance, you're looking to port your cylinder head out, cut them out. Blend it in. You'll be happy with it. This is Crazy Ass Potter. We'll see y'all.